All right, we're going to do a little dividing with decimals. Just got a quick video ready for you. So I've got 3 different scenarios we're going to take a look at. All of these could be things that you encounter. We've got a problem here. We are dividing a decimal by a whole number. This next one, we have a whole number divided by a decimal. And in our final problem, we have a decimal divided by a decimal. So let's take it from the top. Okay. So, since our divisor, and when I'm talking about a divisor, I'm talking about that number right there, does not have a decimal in it, we don't need to worry about moving any decimals. So I'm just going to take the decimal from here in the dividend and move it up here, so it'll be in my quotient. Now this is where it comes down. It's very, very important to know, to be conscious of where you place your digits. I'll show you what I mean. So 17 cannot go into 8, but I know it can go into 81. So I am thinking, it's going to be a little less than 5 times. I'm thinking it's going to be about 4 times. So if I do, here 17 times 4, that's going to be 68. So if I go any higher than that, it'd be 85. So it's only going to go in 4 times. So the 4 has to go right there. See, if I put the 4 up above the 3, or the next number over, it wouldn't work quite out as well. It would get me the wrong answer. So this is why, if you've been paying attention and lining your digits up in division like you should have been, this is going to help you. Okay, so 81 minus 70 would be 11. And 68 is 2 less than that, so it's going to be 13. All right, bringing down the next digit. So now I start the process all over again. How many 17s can I get out of 133? Well, I'm going to bet that it's going to be around 7 times, just kind of looking at it. So 7 and 7 is 49. 119. You know, if I go 8 times, it's going to be even closer, I think. Oh, look at that, just a little bit too big. So 7 it is. So 7 is going to be 119. If 119 was 120, then 133 minus 120 would be 13. But it's 19, so it's going to be 14. Okay. Bringing down the next digit. So I start the process over again. How many 17s can I get out of 145? Well, I think I've got my answer right here. This is one reason why you don't erase your work. So it's going to go in 8 times, and I get 136. And I'm going to get 9 right here when I subtract. I was able to see that because if it was 135, then it would be 10 when I subtracted. So 136 makes it's going to be 1 less than 10, which makes it 9. Now, what you can do with this, you grab a different color here, something I haven't used yet. If I want to make it even more accurate, I can just add a 0 and keep going, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this one to the thousandths place, and if I keep going from there, I'm just going to round to my answer. And 17 is going to go into 90. It looks like, let's see here, 5 times, I bet you. 17 times 5. That would be 35. Looky there, it's going to be 85. So it's going to go in 5 times right there, which would be 85. And I'm going to have 5 left over. So this would keep going for a long time, but I've got an answer that's probably close enough. So I've got 4.785. If I just rounded this off to the hundredths place, it would give me 4.79. And that's going to be close enough. Okay, next problem. We have a whole number divided by a decimal. So we have a decimal divisor. Now, in this one, since we have a decimal in our divisor, we've got to move this decimal right here to make this a whole number, 26. Now, when I move that decimal there, that means that I also have to take the decimal from 324, which is there, and I also have to move that decimal one space over and put a 0 in the space that I just made. Okay, so that's one of the differences. If you're dividing a whole number by a decimal, you're going to have to move the decimal in your divisor, which means you're going to have to move it in your dividend. Now, if I had moved this decimal 2 spaces, then I would have to move it 2 spaces out here. So same thing. If I had to move it 3 spaces in my divisor, I have to move it 3 spaces in my dividend. So you have to make things balance out there. Okay, let me get a bigger eraser here so I can get rid of this stuff faster and we can work this problem. All right, so I only had to move 1 space, and there we go. Back to a pencil. Okay, so I know 26 can only go into 32 one time. And I'm going to get 6 left over. Bring down the next digit. Start the process all over again. I know that 26 can go into 64. I'm going to guess 2 times. Because if I come out here and do 26 times 2, that'd be 52. That's going to be pretty close. That'd be 12 left over there. Process goes over again. Now then I've got my 0. Remember I had to put that 0 out there. So 26 is going to go into 120. I'm going to say probably 4 times. That would be 104. So that's going to be as close as we're going to get. So there's 104. And 20 minus 104 would be 16. Now my decimal is here. And I could keep going. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to add another 0 and keep going. So how many times can 26 go into 160? Well, I know 4 gets close. I bet you 5 is going to get even closer. That's 130. I bet you 6 will be even better. 26 times 6. 156. Okay. So 156 there. And I'm going to wind up with 4 left over. Now I could keep going, but I'm going to tell you right now that the answer that I've got is going to be close enough to being just perfect. I could probably go on for a long time, so I'm going to just call it right here at 124.6. That's close enough for anyone's kind of work. Now, final problem. I've got a decimal, and I am dividing it by another decimal. And it looks like I'm going to have to do that one in a separate video. So, I'll see you for part 2 in just a moment here.